Hello and welcome. I know everyone is at home probably anxiously awaiting the election results, but if you could take a couple minutes out of your night to come check in with us, this is the Postgame show for Week 8 Legacy Leagues, presented by Sportslook Passing League. Guess let's get right into it. Presented by Sportslook Passing League. Let's talk about the Sportslook Temptations game. What happened there tonight?
It was a pretty good battle right there. Temptation jumped out to a 14-0 lead right in the first quarter, but Sportslook obviously wasn't shaken. Came right back. Really, locked Carmine. Carmine was hitting threes like nothing, but they locked him down in the second half. He was still scoring, but Sportslook came back and pulled off a 70-58 win over the Temptations.
Yeah, Carmine made four of his first 5 threes just in that first quarter alone. Yep. Came off to a really hot start, and then it seemed that Sportslook really got it together defensively and were able to sort of hamper down on that. Like, that was a great game. It's interesting to see how two of those upper teams in our league sort of shake out heading into playoffs coming up. So it's nice to see how these teams stack up. All right, let's go heading on over. We had a battle of two teams, 9 and 10 in our power rankings. For the first time, we saw the Titans piggyback over the Cacambas. Turns out they did win over the Cacambas tonight.
Yeah, a battle between 2 and 5, both 2 and 5 teams. I had the Cacambas winning this, but Titans powered over them. Had a great win. The Eccles brothers had a great game. Stephen Eccles with 20 points. James Eccles with 16 points. The key of the game was the Cacambas really not handling the ball properly and turning the ball over every other possession. And that was really what their biggest problem for the loss tonight against the Titans.
You have the Titans now on a 3-game win streak. They're a re-energized team. It seems like they're finally getting a handle over this league, and I'll actually be interested to see if they could be an upset killer in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think we touched on it during our pregame show, how this is a team that's really sort of gelled together over the last couple of weeks. Just want to say that I was the only analyst to pick the Titans, but that doesn't matter. Moving on, Goon Squad, Brotherhood. Heck of a game here tonight. Obviously our game of the week, and Brotherhood, of course, came out on top, but with their smallest margin of victory to date through 2 seasons. Final score 60-55. Pretty great game, huh, Ian?
Yeah, unbelievable. It shook out to be an amazing game. Very physical. A lot of chirping, but Brotherhood did come out with a very small margin. Michael Davis dropped 16 points. But Goon Squad definitely showed that they can hang with some of the top tier teams in this league, and we'll have to see how they play out in the playoffs.
I'm curious to see how this game changes if Matt Del Monte is here, right? This is a 5-point deficit. He's one of their X factors. Be curious, right? Obviously, you don't want to make excuses for a team that won a game, but obviously, it's a factor.
They played very well.
Yeah.
Short.
Do you guys think maybe they put out the blueprint to this is how you beat the Brotherhood now? Other teams come in and they see how closely they were able to battle them, bringing some physicality and defense.
Yeah, I think it was really the size. Goon Squad's a very physical team, a very big team, big paint presence, and I think that was sort of Brotherhood likes to run up and down the floor, right? They have a lot of high flyers, they have a lot of guys who can shoot the ball, but they don't have as much of a dominant post presence, and I think that you sort of saw them flustered with having to keep up with all the bigs on Goon Squad.
Yep.
Let's go. Keep it rolling, right? One time versus BS&B, another team that's still looking for its first win.
Unfortunately, they weren't able to capture their first win, but it was a very closely contested game. Mike Cody continues to ball for them. I'd be interested to see what he would do on a better team, because it's obvious he's one of the more skilled players in our league. BS&B still doesn't look right. They've obviously been in a slide lately. They do get the win tonight, but they don't look like the same team that we saw in the beginning of the year who reeled off 4 straight victories.
Yeah, I think that BS&B has been one of the toughest teams to sort of scout or critique. It's last year, we keep hearing how last season they were criminally underrated, and then they came and they made a push in the playoffs, and now it's like, we don't want to get into a trap of, underrating them, but again, we see them now, a team that should have been a much easier win, and they had to really claw and scratch. So I'm curious, where do you guys sort of see BS&B in the playoff picture?
They were able to snap this 3-game winning streak somehow against this one-time team, but it doesn't look good for this BS&B team in the near future. I don't know what it is with this team. Like Eric said, they had a good 4-0 start, but going into week 9 in the playoffs, I do not see this team going farther than the first round if they get stuck with maybe a Titans team, maybe an upset early round. They need to figure something out. The team just needs to work together, become a better, well-oriented team chemistry team, and we'll see what happens because there are a couple flaws in their game, and they just need to work together and figure this out.
I think they're plagued by the same issues that the serial killers have, is lack of a true point guard, and that's really why you see such a volatile performance week to week out there.
So we had a comment shoot in, and I just wanted to share. I have apparently some new friends on the Titans, and they wanted to ask you guys, what about those Titans guys? Come on, show us some love. Ridiculous. All right, those Titans, man. Remember those Titans. Moving on.
They want us to.
Run TMC, serial killers. Good game. Another good game. Came down to the wire.
Great game. Great game. Came down to 82 to 76. Really back and forth affair. Serial killers, I think they really, stuck at 2 Run TMC in the beginning. They really hung with them. Seeing as Run TMC is really an up-and-coming team,
Sure.
coming into the playoffs. Reggie Stewart had 31, 13 rebounds. Run TMC just outlasted them in the end and squeaked away with it like a 7-point win.
All right, and you got to end somewhere, so I guess we got to end with a slaughter. No Limit, Airballers. Yikes.
That was, like you said, a slaughter, 109 to 58 win for the No Limit squad. This game was over within 5 minutes of the first quarter.
Well, really, it's when it was scheduled.
Yeah, absolutely. They came in with 2 people on the bench. They ended with 4 people. They had no substitutes. It was over right when the whistle blew. And No Limit just had fun. They really didn't do anything. They didn't even look that good tonight, but they were just trying to throw alley-oops, have a good time, and it was not fun to watch this game. They came off a tough loss against Run TMC last week, and they come into an easier game against Airballers, and you'd like to think that they can work on and improve something so they can go into the playoffs with a good mentality, have a good defense, but they were just having fun, and they didn't utilize the time properly. And they might have a difficulty with the Cucumbas next week, which should be interesting to finish off the regular season for No Limit.
Well, I'm curious because you said that you didn't think they played their best brand of basketball, yet they dropped 109 points, which I have to double check. That might be the most points that we've had scored in the game this year.
No, it's one of the highest scoring.
We've only had 4
yep.
games in triple digits.
Yeah,
so.
but Airballers, they didn't play any defense whatsoever. They just let them run right through them, and that's what we saw all night.
I'm going to actually have to disagree with Will. It was a kind of a rollover game, as he said, and they did have fun, but after coming off this tough loss and coming out here, they have all 4 starters, over 20 points, a feel-good game. Maybe this gets their confidence back up as they start to get ready for the playoffs. So I think this might have been good for them. I
just want to say a shout-out, Ronte. I'm still calling it the 3-headed monster. You're right there, but not yet.
20-plus points and double-digit boards, double-double for Ante tonight. So,
well, good for him.
All right, that is our last game of the night, but I'm going to throw you guys a little curveball here. We are now through 8 weeks. We got 1 week left. I want to hear a name, maybe someone that you think MVP candidate. We got 1 more week of regular season left. I'm curious, where do we sit? I hate to put you guys on the spot, but
you look at the best team, and you look at the best player on the best team, and this season it's been Russ Payton. Mike Davis, obviously one of the most talented, if not the most talented player in our league. Limited sample size so far. He's been a facilitator mostly since he's came back.
Right.
Russ Payton has carried the load for the Brotherhood all year, getting into the paint at will all year, scoring 20-plus every week. So
yeah, I think he's probably the most intimidating inside the paint when it comes to driving to the basket. He just is. When he gets going, man, there's no stopping
There's no
him.
game plan for stopping him.
Exactly.
I would have to go Russ Payton as well. Last week when they played Sportslook came back. They were grinding out a couple points. They brought it within single digits. But Russ Payton backed the Sportslook team down in the post and just dribbled right by him and put him in the basket. So I agree with Eric. Mike Davis has been facilitating, like you said, and just really been letting Russ Payton do his own thing. And I'm very impressed with his game this year.
I'm going to have to go with the team opposite the Brotherhood tonight. I'm going to go with Matt Marconi, maybe a dark horse.
Yeah.
You know, dropped 40-plus last week, 30-plus tonight. I mean, he has maybe a distant chance, but you never know.
I'm starting to think that we've been sort of not as respectful towards Goon Squad as maybe we should have been, right? This is the team that's given the Brotherhood their best run for the money, and they're still sitting at 5th in our power rankings despite the second best record.
So I think some of that becomes the eye test. Maybe they're not the most aesthetic offensively,
Right.
but they D up, and they, no matter who they played,
Yeah,
they gave them
absolutely.
fits on defense, and that's why I think we've underrated them.
I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to see the game, but without Matt Del Monte, they put up a fight, and I'm impressed. So good for them, but we'll see what they can do week 9 and going into the playoffs.
And he's one of their most physical players.
Yeah, he
too.
really is.
Yeah. All right, well, obviously this is week 8, so you know the drill. Facebook, obviously the website, thelegacyleaks.com, Instagram, Twitter, you already know the whole deal. We'll see you guys again next week for our last week of the regular season.
That's it.
Pray for America. Election night. Take care.